My name is Andrew and this is Rogue Wrenching. Today we are starting in on the repair project. Well, at this point it's just an exploratory mission on the 6-liter service truck. If you didn't see the introduction to this service truck, I will link that video right there so you guys can go check that out and kind of learn some of the backstory behind this truck. I don't want to repeat myself, so I'm not going to give you the whole story again. But this truck needs serious engine work. It was already partially disassembled when I purchased it. So what I'm going to be showing you guys today is kind of the teardown and what it looks like. There's going to be some separate videos that detail like specifics, which I will link in the corner as we get to that point. We're going to do a lot of time lapse with today's video, and it's going to be really cool. There's going to be some details that I'll show you and some that are just going to be time lapse with maybe a voiceover. So if you're looking for specifics, watch for those little tags up there or go to my channel page and check out some of the other videos for the specific repairs or specific tricks to disassembling this truck. But this is just kind of an overall build progress video. This is going to be episode 2 in our Powerstroke Rescue series, where we're rescuing this truck from the scrapyard. Well, not from a scrapyard. We're rescuing this truck. We're turning it into a functional service truck. So I'm super excited about this series. I'm super excited to bring this to you. If you guys are new here, definitely hit that subscribe button. There's going to be a lot of really cool content coming here, specifically relating to 6 liters and Powerstrokes in the next couple of months. So definitely subscribe if you haven't already done that. Give this video a thumbs up so that it can spread to more people. And let's dive right in. Alrighty, so the first thing when working on one of these trucks is to gain access to the front of the engine. As you can see, the radiator back, or actually the intercooler back, has already been removed. So some of this stuff is already out of the way, so it might seem kind of backwards to take off what we're taking off. But if this truck were together, this is how we would approach this repair to start. So we're going to start by taking off the headlights, the grille, and the bumper, and then we're just going to kind of work our way back through the truck. That way we can have access to reach everything on the front of the motor as easily as possible. Then we're going to pull out the HVAC box right there. I'll have a video specifically that details how to do that. It's probably just going to be a time lapse in this video, and then we'll tear it down. Today we are taking the cylinder heads off. We are chasing a lifter noise on this side, and then we've also got this thing sat with glow plugs out of it on this side, and we need to examine the cylinders there. We need to see if this engine is savable or if we need to get a new engine and start over. Okay, so now that all of the front clip stuff is off, you can see why we go through this way. It just gives you a whole lot more access to get to stuff. On a 6-liter, when you're doing heads, there is absolutely zero reason to pull the cab. Let me repeat that for those of you in the back. There is zero reason to pull the cab on one of these trucks. I'm going to show you the one special tool that you need to have to get the heads off, and I'm also going to show you all the other tricks here in this video and in other videos. So if you want to know all those tricks, definitely follow the channel and you will definitely learn them. But this is why we take all this stuff out, because look at all this room you've got for working on it. So with the entirety of the front clip removed, we're able to walk all the way up to and work on the engine at a comfortable working height where we can reach everything in the engine bay. So you could even step over this crossbar, put your feet in here. Sometimes I like to drop this sway bar out. It gives you a little bit more room for your legs. I may or may not on this one, but that's another thing you can do. Once all of the cooling stack comes out, you'll find that there's usually a fan and a fan shroud and all that stuff comes off much easier when you can walk right up to it and get to both sides of it. So this is definitely the recommended manner of doing this.
So what you can see here is we're removing the HVAC box, which holds the evaporator core, and this also gives us a ton more room on the passenger side for access to the valve cover and the cylinder head and all the stuff that's on that side. As you can see here, there's a ton of room with that box out. That's why we take that piece out. Next, I want to show you how to get these injector pigtails out. This is an 18mm 12.3/8 drive socket. So it's got the 12 points, it's a little closer around. And what we're going to do is we're going to use it with an extension to push and release the 2 lock tabs. There's one on the bottom there and then one on the top. And you're just going to take that, center it, and push down, wiggle it back and forth a little bit, and you'll see it drop, and then grab the wire on the back, a little bit of up and down wiggle, and it pops right out without damaging the connector, and then you can reuse it. Again, that's an 18mm 12-point socket. The trick, or the reason people pull heads, or rather the reason people pull cabs when doing heads, is this bolt right here. The secret to not having to pull the cab is to buy this tool right here. This is a Snap-on SRD 35. This is a torque adapter that offsets where your ratchet actually sits. So it pops into a socket like that. And here in a second, I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like to loosen that back bolt. By using this tool, you don't have to remove the cab from the truck. So here you can see the ratchet going into the back of it, and then as we turn on it, we're able to loosen that back corner bolt. This is by far and above the better way to do it versus removing the entire body. There are plenty of people that will argue with me about this, but I can take cylinder heads off a 6-liter in less than 3 hours without taking the body. So here's that cylinder head coming off. As you see, there's going to be a little bit of a catch when that back bolt, because it can't come straight out, it catches a little bit there. We're going to grab an air ratchet and go ahead and spin that puppy out. Once that bolt is loose from the gasket, we'll be able to lift this head free of the vehicle. So here I'm stepping up on the block with one foot and then sticking my fingers through the holes where the injector is to lift the cylinder head off. These heads are pretty heavy. They're about 90 pounds when they're assembled like this. And just a straight up lift, brace yourself. I have one foot on the engine block there, you can see, and then one foot down on the core support. So this is now looking in the cylinders. So as you can see here, there is a tremendous amount of rust. This is the old head gasket. As you can see, it's blue, which indicates this is likely the original factory gasket. So this gasket's been in here for a while. Again, remember this engine has 254,000 miles on it. So we can see some scoring in the cylinder walls. You can see that when I rub it, it doesn't come off. It's actually, and there's scoring, and there's also some etching of what looks like coolant that sat in these cylinders. There was also a lot of foreign debris in a couple of these holes. You can see the amount of rust in the cooling passages, and this is the surface of the head. I apologize, the video is a little bit rough, but you can see how much rust has just grown on the deck of the head. That's really abnormal. I have never seen a cylinder head on one of these that's that bad. Here you can see that etching that the coolant did on the cylinder walls, and it is pretty nasty. You can feel that when you run your hand across it.
Okay, so the heads are off of it. You've seen kind of what I just showed you there as far as the kind of damage this thing has. So this thing has a ton of rust. It looks like it's all surface, though. It's not like really deep pitting, so it might be salvageable. I'm not really sure yet. As you can see, the sun is going down behind me. It's getting dark here. We're running out of light. The GoPro died, so that's why we kind of ran out of time lapse at the end. But kind of to wrap up what I'm seeing with this engine right now is there's some really deep like scoring in the sides. There was some debris in the cylinders, and when we cranked it over trying to get it to start before we disassembled, there was definitely some damage that was done with that. There's some pitting in a couple of cylinders that looks like it was caused by coolant sitting in those cylinders. So there was no coolant in it. There was coolant in the oil. I'm not exactly sure where that cross happened or when it happened, because the oil that came out of the high pressure oil rails didn't have any kind of milky coolant in it. So it definitely happened while it was sitting. Anyways, but to kind of wrap up and summarize this video and kind of bring it all together and kind of let you know where we're going from here is, I don't know this engine is worth rebuilding. With the amount of machine work that it needs, I've got a message out to a friend of mine that owns a machine shop, and we are going to see what it's going to cost to have this short block rebuilt. I'm anticipating that a short block rebuild is going to run me north of $2,000, and I've got a guy that has a running complete engine used for $1,000. So I'm probably going to go the used engine route. Sorry about that. That character compressor just kicked on and it got real loud there. So to wrap this up and kind of decide where we're going, we're running some numbers to see what it would cost to rebuild this engine. This engine needs a lot of work. There's some pretty deep rust in the heads, and like everything is rusted. The heads, like the deck of the heads have rust. But again, like you can machine the heads, you can bore it out. We could put new pistons in it. We could do all of those things. The question is, what's the most economical way to get this truck back on the road and in good running condition? So I'm not entirely sure. We're going to run some numbers. It is Sunday night, so I've got to go back to work tomorrow. And so we're just going to do some research this week while I, work and make money to pay for this thing. And we're gonna see what gives. I think we're probably gonna end up with putting a used engine in it. Obviously, with that used engine, we're gonna go in, we're gonna do head gaskets, we're gonna do all the things that I would normally do with a 6 liter to make it reliable, except this bottom end seems to be toast. So anyways, that's kind of all we've got for today. Thank you guys, big thank you for watching to the end. The reality is that there's like 5% of you that actually see this part. So reminder that I'm giving away $100 in a couple weeks. When we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll be giving away $100. So definitely, I'll put a link in the description below for the video that has the details on how to enter that giveaway. But I think we're gonna call it a night. So we're gonna wrap this one up here, and yeah, have a fantastic day, and we'll see you guys in the next video.